Here's what nobody tells you. The second you stop texting him, he doesn't feel relieved. He feels something else, something way more powerful. And what goes on in his head the moment he realizes you're not reaching out anymore will surprise you. It's not what you think. It's not anger. It's not freedom. It's a shift that changes how he sees you completely. And it happens faster than you'd believe. In the beginning, he doesn't notice. He's living his life, doing his thing, going to work, hanging out, scrolling through his phone. Your texts were always there, always coming. So he never had to think about it. It was just normal, like the sun coming up, like something that would always be there. He didn't value it because it never went away. That's how people are. We don't appreciate what's always available. Then some time goes by, maybe a few hours, maybe a day. He picks up his phone like he always does, checks his messages. Nothing from you. He doesn't freak out, doesn't really care yet, just notices, or maybe he doesn't even notice. He just moves on with his day. But somewhere in his brain, a little switch flips. Not a big one, just a tiny one, the kind you don't feel right away. Because you were part of his routine, part of his day. Your name showing up on his screen was expected. It was comfortable. It was safe. And now that's gone. His brain picks up on it even if he doesn't. Brains are funny like that. They notice changes even when we're not paying attention. And this change, it matters more than he knows yet. The first real shift happens later. He's doing something random, making food, watching TV, and for some reason he thinks about you. Not in a deep way, just a quick thought. He wonders when you last texted. He can't remember. So he opens his phone and scrolls back through your messages. He sees the last thing you sent. He sees when he replied. And he realizes something. You didn't text back. You didn't keep the conversation going like you usually do. That's when the question comes, why didn't she text me? It's small at first. Not scary, not emotional, just curiosity, just his brain trying to solve a puzzle. But once that question is there, it doesn't leave. It sits in his mind. Quiet, but present. And every hour that passes without hearing from you makes that question a little bit louder. Here's what's really happening. You stopping isn't just about you not texting. It's about him losing something he didn't know he needed. Control, predictability, the feeling that he knew where things stood. When you were always reaching out, he knew you were interested. He knew you cared. He knew he mattered to you. That gave him a sense of security he never thought about. And now that security is gone, his brain starts working overtime. Not in an obvious way. He's not sitting there obsessing, but his mind keeps coming back to you in random moments, when he's bored, when he's alone, when nothing else is grabbing his attention. Your silence becomes this thing he can't ignore because it's so different from what he's used to, and difference demands attention. Then his ego steps in. This is where things get interesting. His ego doesn't like not knowing. It doesn't like feeling unsure. So it starts asking different questions. Is she testing me? Is she mad at me? Did I do something wrong? Is she talking to someone else? These aren't logical questions. They're emotional ones. And they come from a place of feeling off balance, because that's what your silence did. It knocked him off balance without him realizing it. What surprises him most is how much space you're taking up in his head now. When you were texting all the time, you were just there, background, easy. But now that you're not texting, you're everywhere. In his thoughts, in his wondering, in his questions. Your absence is louder than your presence ever was. And he doesn't understand why. Silence doesn't just remove noise, it creates space. And his brain fills that space with everything, with memories of you, with questions about you, with guesses about what you're doing and why you're not talking to him. That space becomes heavy. It becomes something he carries around even when he's trying not to think about it. The truth is, his mind hates unanswered questions. It hates not knowing. So when you don't reach out, you create this giant question mark in his life. And question marks bug us. They nag at us. They make us focus on them until we find answers. That's exactly what's happening to him right now. You've become the unanswered question he can't stop thinking about. At some point, two parts of him start fighting. One part says, don't reach out. Don't give her the satisfaction. Don't let her see that you noticed. Don't look weak. That's his pride talking, his ego, the part that wants to protect himself. the part that doesn't want to feel like he needs you. And that part is loud. It tells him to wait, to play it cool, to let you come to him first. But there's another part, a quieter part, and this part feels something different. It feels the gap, the missing piece, the thing that used to be there and isn't anymore. This part misses you, not in a dramatic way, just in a real way. It misses the connection, the ease, the feeling of knowing you were thinking about him. This part wants to reach out, wants to fix whatever feels broken, wants to close the gap. And these two parts pull him in opposite directions. One says, stay SARS, Trong. The other says, reach out. One says, protect yourself. The other says, go after what matters. And he's stuck between them, frozen, not because he doesn't care, but because he cares too much. And caring makes everything harder. What's really getting to him is this. He didn't realize how much your texts meant until they stopped. They gave him something, proof that he mattered to you, proof that you were thinking about him, proof that the connection was real. Without those texts, he doesn't have that proof in. And the lack of proof makes him doubt everything. Did she lose interest? That question lands hard. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's just there, sitting in his chest, making everything feel heavier. He starts replaying things in his mind. The last few conversations, the last time you hung out, looking for clues, looking for signs that something changed. Even normal stuff starts to look suspicious now. A short reply, a delayed response, something that didn't bother him before suddenly feels important. Losing interest means you chose to pull away. It means you decided something. It means you saw something in him or in the connection that made you want less. And that thought hurts his pride. It makes him feel rejected, even though you didn't actually reject him. You just stopped texting. But his brain turns that into a bigger story, a story where you don't want him anymore. Here's the thing, though. If he really didn't care, none of this would bother him. He wouldn't be thinking about it. He wouldn't be asking questions. He wouldn't be going back and forth in his head. The fact that he's doing all of this proves something. It proves you matter to him way more than he probably realized before you stopped reaching out. Something else happens too. Your silence makes him see you differently. Before, you were the person who was always there, always available, always interested, and maybe he took that for granted. Maybe he got too comfortable. Maybe he stopped trying as hard because he knew you'd be there anyway. But now you're not there, and suddenly you're not the easy option anymore. You're the mystery, the challenge, the thing he can't quite figure out. People want what feels just out of reach. That's human nature. When something is always available, we stop valuing it. But when it pulls away, we wake up, we pay attention, we realize what we had. And that's exactly what your silence is doing to him. It's making him realize that you're not guaranteed, that you have a choice, that you could walk away. And that possibility makes you more valuable in his eyes. This is where things get deeper. His mind starts imagining things, not crazy things, just possibilities. What if she met someone else? What if she's done with me? What if I miss my chance? These aren't fun thoughts. They're uncomfortable. They create this low-level worry that sits with him throughout the day. Not panic, just unease, just the feeling that something might be slipping away. And here's what that does. It makes him want to do something about it. Not necessarily right away, but eventually. The unease builds, the questions pile up, the missing you get stronger, and at some point staying silent feels worse than reaching out. At some point, his need to know what's going on becomes bigger than his need to protect his ego. But some guys do the opposite. Instead of pulling away, they move closer. They text you more. They check in. They try to get things back to normal. And it's not because they're desperate. It's because your silence showed them something they didn't see before. It showed them that you matter, that the connection matters, that losing you would actually hurt. For these guys, silence isn't a game. It's a wake-up call. It's the thing that makes them realize they don't want to lose what they have with you. So they reach out. They make effort. They show up, not because they're chasing, but because they finally see the value in what was there all along. What makes the difference? It comes down to how much he actually cares. If the connection was shallow, your silence fades fast. He moves on. He doesn't think about it much. But if there was something real, something deeper, your silence sticks with him. It bothers him. It makes him think. It makes him act. The biggest mistake you can make is breaking the silence for the wrong reason. If you reach out because you're anxious, because you're scared, because you need to know he still cares, he'll feel it. That energy comes through and it puts you right back where you started. Back to being the one who cares more. Back to being predictable. Back to being taken for granted. Breaking silence out of fear ruins everything the silence was building. It tells him that you weren't really okay without him, that you were just waiting for the right moment to cave, that your silence was fake, and fake silence doesn't do anything except confuse him. Another mistake is using silence as punishment. If you're mad at him and you're not texting because you want him to suffer, that's not silence, that's a game. And he'll feel the difference. When you finally do talk to him again, the energy will be off. He'll sense the resentment, the coldness, the test, and that doesn't make him want you more. It makes him want to protect himself from you. Some women also turn silence into a test. They watch every little thing he does. They count the hours. They analyze every text. They measure his response, and that keeps them stuck thinking about him, stuck waiting for him to prove something, stuck in their own heads. That's not real silence. That's obsession with a silent label on it. The worst mistake, though, is stopping your whole life while you're silent, waiting, pausing, putting everything on hold. Real silence only works when your life keeps moving, when you're busy, when you're happy, when you're focused on yourself. Empty silence is just waiting with a different name, and waiting never attracts anyone. Silence isn't about controlling him. It's about controlling yourself. It's about stepping back, getting clear, letting go of the need to force things. When silence comes from a calm place, from a strong place, it changes the energy between you. But when it comes from fear, it just creates more problems. How long does silence affect him? There's no set time. It's not about days or weeks. It's about what the connection meant before the silence started. If things were good, if there was something real, silence can last a long time in his mind. It doesn't fade in 3 days. It sticks. It lingers. It keeps pulling his attention back to you. In the early days, he's still thinking you'll text soon. He's not worried yet. Just aware. As more time passes, the awareness turns into something else, into curiosity, into concern, into, oh, this need to understand what happened. And if the connection really mattered to him, that need doesn't just disappear, it grows. What keeps the silence powerful isn't how long you stay quiet. It's how you left things. If your last conversation was good, if things felt warm, if there was no fight, the silence hits different. It feels confusing to him. It feels unfinished. And unfinished things stay in our minds way longer than finished ones. They nag at us. They demand closure. They keep us thinking. Eventually, silence hits a turning point. Either he gets used to it and starts letting go, or he decides to do something about it. And what he decides depends on how much losing you would bother him. If it would bother him a lot, he reaches out. If it wouldn't, he doesn't. Simple as that. The silence just revealed what was already true. So the real answer isn't about time, it's about meaning. Silence affects him as long as you meant something to him. And if you didn't mean much, no amount of silence will change that. But if you did mean something, if there was something real between you, your silence will stay with him longer than you think. Not reaching out can be powerful, but it can also backfire. And it backfires when it sends the wrong message, when it looks like you disappeared for no reason, when it feels cold instead of calm, when it seems like you gave up instead of stepped back. One way it backfires is when you stay gone too long without any reason. If weeks go by and he has no idea why you're not talking to him, his mind starts filling in the blanks. And usually the story he creates isn't good. He might think you don't care anymore. He might think you were never that interested. He might think you found someone else. And once he believes that story, it's hard to come back from it. Silence also backfires when your energy is wrong. If you're silent, but you're obsessing over him the whole time, that energy leaks out. When you finally do talk again, he'll feel it. He'll sense the tension, the neediness, the fear, and that doesn't make him want you. It makes him uncomfortable. Another way it fails is when it's mean, when you're using silence to hurt him, to make him feel bad, to prove a point. That kind of silence doesn't build anything. It just creates distance, and not the good kind, the kind that's hard to fix. Silence works when it's calm, when it's real, when it comes from you living your life and not from you playing games. That kind of silence makes him curious, makes him think, makes him want to reach back out. But fake silence, angry silence, scared silence, that stuff pushes him away instead of pulling him closer. Timing matters too, and so does intention. Silence is a tool, not a weapon. When you use it right, it creates space for both of you. Space to think, space to feel, space to figure out what you really want. But when you use it wrong, it just creates confusion and hurt. How do you know if he's thinking about you? There are signs, small ones, easy to miss if you're not looking, but they're there and they tell you everything you need to know about where his head is. The first sign is mental replay. He starts thinking about past conversations, things you said, jokes you made, moments you shared. These memories pop up randomly. When he's bored, when he's alone, when nothing else is holding his attention. And each time they pop up, you're on his mind again, even if just for a second. Another sign is curiosity. He starts wondering what you're doing, where you are, who you're with, what you're thinking. These questions don't feel important at first, but they add up. And the more he wonders, the more space you take up in his thoughts. You might also notice signs in his behavior, random texts, little check-ins, questions that seem casual but aren't. He's reaching towards you, testing the waters, trying to see if you're still there, if you still care. These aren't accidents. They're him trying to close the gap your silence created. Sometimes the signs are internal. You can't see them, but they're happening. He smiles when something reminds him of you. He pauses when he sees your name somewhere. He gets distracted thinking about you during random tasks. These moments prove you're on his mind, even when he's trying not to think about you. The more he cares, the more these signs show up. They're not loud, they're not obvious, but they're real. And they're proof that your silence is doing something, that it's making him notice, making him think, making him feel something he wasn't feeling before. When he finally reaches out, how you respond matters. It sets the tone for everything that comes next. And the key is responding from a calm place, not from excitement, not from relief, not from fear, from calm. Take your time before you reply. Don't answer right away, not to play games, but to give yourself space to think, to make sure your response comes from the right place, a place of confidence, a place of value, a place that knows you don't need his message to be okay. Keep your message light and warm. Don't over-explain. Don't apologize for being silent. Don't act like you did something wrong. You didn't. You just gave yourself space. And that's healthy. Your response should reflect that. Easy, natural, like you were just living your life and now you're back. Show interest, but not too much. You don't need to ignore him, but you also don't need to jump at every word he says. Find the middle ground, the place where you're engaged, but not desperate, present, but not needy. That balance is what keeps his interest high. Match his energy, but on your terms. If he's casual, be casual. If he's warm, be warm. But don't give more than he's giving. Don't try to force depth if he's being surface level. Just meet him where he is and let things unfold naturally. Don't try to solve everything in one conversation. Let it breathe. Let curiosity build. Let the connection grow slowly. When you do this, your silence becomes part of a bigger story. A story where you have value, where your time matters, where your presence is something he has to earn, not something he gets automatically. Your response should feel like an extension of who you are, confident, grounded, clear. Not someone who was sitting around waiting for him to text, but someone who was living her life and is now choosing to engage. That choice is what makes all the difference. Silence is powerful when you use it right. It's not about being mean. It's not about playing games. It's about creating space. Space for you to get clear. Space for him to notice what he had. Space for the connection to breathe instead of being forced. The power of silence comes from intention. When you're silent because you're focused on yourself, because you're living your life, because you're not going to chase someone who isn't showing up, that silence means something. It communicates value without saying a word. But balance matters. Too much silence can push him away. Too little and it loses its effect. The sweet spot is when silence feels natural, when it's not calculated, when it comes from you being busy, happy, and whole without him. Remember this, silence works best when there's already a connection, when there's something real to notice. If the connection was weak, silence won't fix it. It'll just end it faster. But if there was something there, something worth keeping, your silence will make him see it, make him feel it, make him act on it. Use silence as a mirror.